Go beyond this earthly realm, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce, and today we are continuing our work through Fleetway Sonic the Comic with, less filler than last week. It's not non-filler. Some of it is.
Yeah.
We are at least transitioning back into stuff actually happening, I think I would say.
That's a good way to put it.
True.
But we're definitely not starting out that way. We're starting out with Following Suit, Stringer and Flint. A series of robberies shakes the Metropolis business district, but the culprits aren't trying to do it. Amy and Techno are in the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we start with a bunch of business people that really like the strict routine of 9-to-5 jobs. I feel like these are some of the people that didn't mind so much when Robotnik was in charge, if I had to guess.
Probably not.
I mean, you say that, these guys on the opening page mostly look miserable.
Yeah, but these two that we're focusing on seem to really enjoy the 9-to-5.
That's true. If you make a lot, then that can definitely be part of it.
Yeah, but also if your 9-to-5 isn't actually working at all.
Yeah, this is one of those bullshit jobs moments. But either way, the morning rush is interrupted when this lady in particular goes berserk and throws a brick through a window.
I mean, I'd do that if I was going to a 9-to-5.
Yeah, but the difference is she isn't actually trying to do that, and a bunch of other people also do this. There's some kind of control going on. I almost called it mind control, but it's not.
No, it's not. It's not.
Well, it's weird because, most of them are like, wait, I'm not trying to do this. And there's this one dude who's like, I have a sudden urge to rob a bank. So, which seems inconsistent with everyone else.
That's inconsistent with the actual plot. Yeah, that's true.
They screwed that up. That doesn't make any sense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's called Following Suit because even if you're not being affected by the body control, I guess is what it is. You still end up feeling the.
You don't want to be left out.
Yeah, you feel.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
That's what it is, it's about the morning rush, and it's about, like Lauren said, it's like following the herd. It gets people to commit crimes even if they're not the ones being controlled.
Damn.
Makes enough sense.
Yeah,
anyway, look at this illustration of Techno messily eating a burger.
Look at the bug in the background melting it.
Hey, that's all he could do. Techno is just like a slob, which is not something considered part of characterization, but I think would be funny.
It's funny enough.
Anywho, they hear that everything is going crazy, so
they specifically hear that the bank is being robbed by the bank's manager. So that guy saying that was the one who runs the bank.
Yeah, but we end up being treated to several scenes of Amy and Techno punching people and knocking them down, and then them saying thank you.
I love that they say, "Oh, thank you for stopping me."
I think that it's very funny that happens because again. Their bodies aren't the one doing this, even though I called it bodily control. It's clothes control we're going to have to see in a second.
I mean, it's the clothes controlling the body, so body control isn't exactly incorrect.
I know, but Techno beans this guy in the head.
That is true.
But yes, we take a look at the fabric of their suits, which has AI microchips in it that control their limbs.
Sure, why not?
Fucking Wallace and Gromit wrong trousers moment.
Oh yeah, sorta.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the police arrive to literally arrest the clothes off these people.
Gotta be a weird day as a cop.
Gotta be a weird day as a monkey man who wears a pink thong. What is that fashion sense? Ew.
I mean, I think it's just briefs.
I don't want to have to think about it any more than I'm thinking about it right now.
I mean,
actually, I want to think about it less. The water short circuits the outfits. Well, they stop working, actually. I was about to say they go berserk, but they don't.
No, they just short out. They just short out and die. So they just go back to regular clothing, basically.
Yeah. You better hope if you're the guy doing this that, did you just never test them in water?
I mean, yeah, it's electronics. They're well known for shorting in water.
Hell, did you think if you were putting chips in any people's clothes that, what if somebody washed them before they wore them?
Also a good point. But
I don't think it was that thought out. This plan is the product of Alf Garment, the evil tailor.
Okay, all these random supervillains on Mobius really need to start a fucking club. There's too fucking many of them.
I think the writers need to start a club for getting more ideas.
Well, that too.
I mean, part of it is that there's like no thought put into it beyond, oh, wouldn't it be funny if there was a villain that had evil clothes? Because they reveal themselves, and Techno and Amy show up and are like, hey, we learned your weakness. Spray everything with water. They win. That's it.
Yeah, they show up with water guns. I'm trying to remember. Wasn't there a Jimmy Neutron episode about, like, evil pants walking around attacking people?
God, I barely remember Jimmy Neutron.
Okay, never mind.
It's a thing that's done, and
it is. It's a fairly common trope.
I actually do remember there was a scrapped Invader Zim episode that used the same concept, but they scrapped it because they didn't want to coincide with Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, all right. Well,
they should have made that a Nickelodeon event. Evil Pants Week. Anyway,
when Alf is thrown in prison, they still are like wearing a tie. What is this prison garb?
Yeah, it's like a suit and tie with arrows all pointing at his face.
They point to the criminal.
So you can't lose him.
Yeah, that way people who visit the jail know where the criminals are.
Yes, of course.
Okay, anyway, this is the most Tales comic feeling the Amy comics have been so far.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Which means that it's time for a departure. Let's move on here to Eternity Ring. Stringer and Corona. Amy and Techno discover a mysterious ancient anomaly in the snow-capped mountain zone, 6 out of 10, and set out for many more adventures.
It was so close to Ice Cap. They could have just used Ice Cap.
Yeah, why didn't they just use Ice Cap?
Well, I mean, they're not on Angel Island, so...
Oh, true.
Anywho, we've detected some weird energy, and so we gotta go to the snow zone.
Yeah.
And it has some of the usual snow traps, like an avalanche and some spike launchers. They launch icicles at you.
You know, your usual snow traps.
What propels those?
Can't
be a gun, because that would melt the ice.
Magic.
It's possible that these spiked icicles are not real. Because
true.
The next trap that shows up is a giant cat. And Amy's like, wait a minute, look. It doesn't leave footprints. And then they're like, oh, it's just an illusion.
Is it a cat? I thought it was a squirrel. It doesn't really have the build of a cat.
I mean, it's got the look of a cat.
I guess if it's a hologram, it can be whatever you want.
It can be a cat squirrel.
Yeah. Well, goodbye, hologram. Let's walk over here and almost fall and die. She didn't even. I guess it's that the ground collapses under her, but it really looks like she just runs off a cliff.
It does.
But for some reason, Techno saving her unleashes the Ring of Eternity, the spirit of Planet Mobius.
It's the Guardian of Forever from Star Trek.
Getting some major Omniviewer vibes. Maybe every dimension just has a creature like this.
I guess.
It is a gateway between dimensions, and it is a flat screen with a face, so...
Didn't Omni previously imply someone built him? I guess someone would have had to build this guy also.
It's possible that's true for both of them. It's funny that Techno sees this and is like, wow, a construction of ancient science and magic. Wait a minute, you don't believe in ghosts, but you believe in magic?
I mean, Techno's had to have encountered magic, because magic does just straight up exist.
Could have encountered ghosts, I would think, too.
True. Because we had, like, the root sorcerer before, but Techno wasn't there for that.
Well, that's true. Maybe
does the shadow monsters and Agent X count as magic?
No, they're just aliens.
No, maybe not. Whatever.
Has she ever met Ebony?
I don't think so.
Maybe she went to the bar at some point. I don't know.
That's
right.
Possible, but we haven't seen it, so we don't know.
Anyway, yes, this thing is I don't know what the spirit of Planet Mobius means. Like Gaia?
Yeah, sort of.
The ring says there's time and places that need help, and we need heroes to come help with them.
We can't take Sonic out of the plot again, so we'll take these two instead.
Amy and Techno get to go on more Space Girl adventures.
They retroactively explain why random dimensions coincide with Mobius because, apparently it's just the center of chaos or whatever.
Yeah, it's like
and that just happens.
Of dimensions.
Okay.
Just call it the Prime Zone at that point. You're I don't know. I actually don't like when the main timeline contains cosmic significance over any other, but...
whatever. I mean...
It's whatever, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I also would like to say that this motivation is like non-existent. They're just like, hey, there are random places that need your help. Go help. And they're like, okay.
The
Like,
girls are
you
just
could
like,
have
I.
tried a little harder.
If it were me, I would like try to sell it that like we have such a close bond, we'll conquer whatever, and pretty much anything we do together could be fun.
That would have been more than nothing, I guess.
Yeah, effectively all we got was, we're bored, sure.
Well, that's the funny thing is that like for Sonic the Comic fans, Amy Techno is a very popular ship, and I agree with
Sure.
it. But
That's fair.
in terms of their actual interactions with the comic, they are very standard.
Yeah.
But you win some, you lose some. We'll move along to the first of these journeys here in Prehistoric Ways, Stringer and Corona. The first stop on Amy and Techno's time-space journey is Planet Granite, where sentient life is at a crucial stage of development.
There's a typo on the first page where Amy calls Techno Amy.
Oh. Yeah, well, I think it's that the trail of the speech balloon should have been
speech bubble trade. Yeah.
Techno, yeah.
Either way, yeah.
Either way, yeah, that's that's a funny mistake.
But yep, we've entered a new planet where we're still in Unga Bunga years.
Right.
We're still at the Neanderthal stage of development. There's some big stupid ones that predate on these smaller wimpy ones.
The bullies.
Yeah. So naturally, Amy and Techno decide to beat them up.
I mean, I guess that doesn't seem too out of character. They see people in danger.
Yeah. It's funny, because they talk about, like, oh, you have to be very careful when guiding a developing species.
I mean, yeah, fair.
And, it's like they talk about, like, oh, don't give them the weapons they use because we don't want to provoke a race war. But it's also that, like, just by fighting them in the first place, maybe you're teaching these guys to rely on other people to fight their battles for them.
True.
Well, that isn't actually what they end up doing because they're like, we gotta come with a solution.
Speculating, yeah. No, the actual solution is that they teach the wimps to make fun of the meatheads for doing violence.
You heard it here. If someone is trying to beat you up, just laugh at them and say fighting is so last year.
I'm sure that will work well.
Okay, well, like, I'm thinking, like, in real life, like, violent political regimes are completely susceptible to ridicule, but that's in terms of societal, like, opinion change, not, like, if a guy is running at you with a knife, laughing at him is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And yes, they just kind of say, don't do violence. Okay.
There is an implication at the end, though, that apparently they've become trained psychologists in a short period of time.
They taught them the art of therapy.
That's,
It's an interesting idea. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah. Also, Amy takes a firmly anti-Professor Pickles stance by thinking it's bad that they invented cucumber sandwiches.
What's wrong with cucumber sandwiches?
I don't know. Apparently, Amy's not a fan.
I mean, whatever. I guess they're fine.
I don't really care much, but I didn't realize that some people really hated them.
It's interesting coming from a British comic.
Anyway, let's move along to something more interesting than that conversation. This is
actually interesting. Might be a bit much.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Let's move on to something more surreal than that conversation. This is Day of the Puppets, Stringer and Flint. The girl's next stop is a space cruiser headed for a prison planet, but it's been overrun by killer ventriloquist dummies.
Oh boy, puppets.
Space prison Astratraz.
Really creative with that one.
2 out of 10. Not a zone, but
not a zone, but sure.
You know that one tweet that says, like, why is SpongeBob standing in the most thug-ass gangster pose? He looks so badass here. That's what I think when Amy and Techno spawn in here.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
And yes, the prison ship is overrun with ventriloquist puppets. They're on the loose.
Most of them have this kind of very basic design, but then, like, the leader, it looks completely
like
different.
An actual ventriloquist dummy.
Yeah, it's funny actually. They arrive and they fight like 2 puppets and then get caught and thrown in the brig with the guards.
Damn.
The guards explain that we were transporting prisoners to a high security planet and we got overrun and the pilot got thrown overboard.
Odd.
So they just killed that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, these puppets are just comically vicious because this apparently is following the trope where, well, so we learned that they're like, why are there walking puppets? Oh, we just like brought them to life with intelligence chips, whatever the heck that means.
That would basically make them robots, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they're essentially robots.
Robot, yeah.
And then, intelligent robot means intense hatred for all life sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, also a common trope, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But without a pilot, everybody's stranded, including the puppets. So they're like they're not even really doing anything. So we need Techno to play the double agent. Also, I want to note that Techno took off her coat in the previous story, but she kept the jeans and boots, and that's a way better look for her than the like skirt and like wimpy shoes that she had on before.
Yeah, that's a good look for her.
So, Techno, yes, is going to play the double agent and offer to pilot the ship for the puppets. The evil puppets are happy for the help, but they're still plotting in the background. They're still like, well, we're gonna kill them all after this, which you'd think would lead to something, but they're already being tricked because they land on this planet and all the puppets step out with a little Cal here in front, and then giant termites show up and eat them.
I think that thing was supposed to show that the puppets are just completely evil and you're not supposed to sympathize with them at all.
The
because
plan was genocide.
It's very weird. The last story, it's like violence is not the answer. This one, kill them all.
Robots, they're technically robots, and robots are not people. I don't know.
In Sonic the Comic, have we ever played with that idea? Because Archie Sonic definitely did, but I don't know if Sonic the Comic Omniviewer, if it's a robot, it sort of seems sentient.
Well, I'm thinking we've had Cog the Mighty, we've had Smokey and the Badnik.
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
So
okay, there are some examples.
But they also definitely have done the thing where, this robot is, has a personality or whatever, but at least it's fine to blow their head off now. So that would be an interesting thing to track across, a grander look at just the Sonic franchise is when do robots count as people?
Yeah.
Because they would never kill, like, Omega.
Sure.
Right.
So anyway, Techno, yeah, she piloted them into a trap planet. Termites eat the puppets, and good job, Techno. So off to the next dimension, which is this one, Future Distractions, Stringer and Flint. Amy and Techno arrive in the future, where Mobius has become completely reliant on advanced technology.
Yeah, this backs up the Omniviewer parallels because the Eternity Ring can travel through time as well.
Right.
Yep. And we are on Future Mobius, which has been devastated by Iblis. No,
it's just kind of like, everything seems fine enough.
It's Futurama Town, but I guess less
basically,
cynical. Yeah. I do like the big Sonic statue.
Yeah, so after 3,000 years, people still honor Sonic, and they still remember Amy and Techno because someone instantly recognizes them.
Well, they say their adventure. Apparently, somehow their adventures were being written down and being provided to Mobius.
I guess they dictated them to someone.
I guess so.
Which meant that yes, this story that is here became a prophecy. I guess.
Yeah.
That should have been a plot point. Darn, that's a missed opportunity. Actually,
yeah, that's
because they don't seem to know what happens before it happens.
Well, maybe they didn't dictate them very closely.
Yeah, I don't know why that you'd want to dictate this stupid future anyway, because you're just like, wow, you're so knowledgeable. Oh, you eat knowledge, and there's this one guy who eats too much knowledge, and there's this other guy who's like, get out of the way, because of my invisible car. Why would you have an invisible car?
French fries.
Yeah,
this future one fucking sucks. Doctor Who episode where the school explodes.
Oh yeah.
And yes, everyone drives invisible cars and have lenses to view invisible cars.
Why are they invisible if you're just gonna see them anyway?
It's a flex.
Yeah, this future kind of sucks.
Well, it's funny because it's definitely supposed to be like a utopian future.
Yeah, but it's like a lame utopia. Everyone's an asshole.
Well, maybe if someone from thousands of years in our past came to this future, they might think the same thing.
I mean, probably.
Techno's head is spinning from all this, but suddenly an EMP or something happens?
Something like that, yeah.
And society starts fucking crumbling.
They all relied too much on tech.
That's what happens when you have a self-driving invisible car that you have to see with Google Glasses.
Right. Damn, that's how you know it's really a dystopia. Google Glasses actually took off.
Yeah. No, but in fact, all of the power was absorbed by this electric armor guy whose name is Gremlin.
Yeah.
And we do in fact see that, yeah, nobody can do anything because they're all reliant on technology and he can shoot fire at them.
Damn.
I guess this was supposed to be a very, very clever solution, which is that Amy and Techno rush to a museum and get something low-tech to use on him. They kill him. Well, okay, I don't know if they kill him, but they beat him with a catapult and a rock.
They went about as low tech as possible.
He's taken away by a police officer at the end, so I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, he's just
arrest your corpse.
Seems unlikely. But yeah, I mean, just smash the invader with a rock. That should be fine.
The ultimate low-tech weapon.
I didn't get it wrong, right? This is a catapult and not a trebuchet?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So, Amy and Techno are celebrated for their heroism. The future people all pledge to rely less on their gadgets, and they leave, as someone says, unaware of the dangers ahead.
The better specifically refer to something, because then that means maybe something interesting is going to happen in this storyline that just kind of goes back and forth between locations and not really into.
But for right now, that is the end of our Amy and Techno coverage for this week. It's, we at least went places.
Yeah, quite literally.
I mean, if this culminates in something, then that would be good, I guess.
There will be a few things, but for right now, we are moving away from Amy and Techno and back to Sonic with the Forgotten Badnik.
God.
Kitching and Elson. Sonic and researcher Pringle investigate a disused Robotnik base hidden beneath Emerald Hill.
Holy
Pringle?
shit, I've never been so happy to see Sonic back.
We have a big door with a secret code, and, well, Sonic has the right one, so it's easy. But behind
the keypad is really weird for the door.
Yeah, it's like some things are numbers, some things look like runes.
Yeah, there's a couple numbers, a couple kind of rune or maybe Cyrillic-looking characters, but then, like, just some nonsense. Oh, I just wanted to point that out because it's weird.
Yep.
It is weird.
But behind the door is a huge, bulky trooper.
Man, it's it feels like it's been a while since we've seen troopers.
I mean, we had them in Robotnik Reign Supreme, but it's always, it gets our attention because they're not normally around now.
Right.
Real.
So, allegedly, this was a prototype for new troopers to replace the old ones, but it never went into full-scale production.
Yeah.
And, Pringle's man here bashes Sonic with his briefcase and turns it on.
It's his flashlight.
It's his flashlight, yeah, and it's so hard that he actually breaks it.
Yeah, you can see the flashlight broken and smoking, or maybe steaming, I don't remember.
This is getting ridiculous, though.
I think it would be smoke, yeah.
Like, Sonic is going to have to do background checks on, like, anyone they don't know very well.
Fair enough, yeah.
Everyone could just be evil at any time on Mobius.
God, it does feel like that.
And the thing is, I feel like if you just made a couple more, like, legitimately threatening recurring villains, you could have a lot of these stories play out the same way, as long as they just always get away at the end. You know, it's... this one is not the case because Sonic needs to have his trust betrayed, but most of them don't.
Not really.
Now, that being said...
if we just had, like, Metamorphosis still around or something, you could still do a plot similar to this. But,
for example,
alas.
Well, and my suggestion would theoretically result in more Max Gambles, which I don't know if I want. Because he is a recurring villain that always gets away at the end. Except, if they just made him actually get away, there would be something.
Right.
They just have him lose, and then they just let him go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with this story, but then this story is mostly just action. Sonic just gets up and smashes up the big trooper until it drops part of the ceiling on him, which is, immediately exciting to Pringle. He's like, "Oh, I'm the first evil scientist with a robot that finally managed to beat Sonic. Anyway, I'm a Badnik."
Yeah, so this is actually cool because we haven't seen a Badnik without a battery try to then absorb a creature as a battery in a long time. This is a cool callback.
True, yeah.
And it's, fitting karma for this weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
He gets his his due justice, and Sonic is like, I don't have time to save that idiot. It's his own fault. Oh, who am I kidding? Sonic is too good for that. And also, I feel like it probably gets stronger when it has a life battery.
I would assume so.
Yeah. So, Sonic saves the day even though he knows he sucks. The rubble crumbles and crushes the robot. And then, you'd think, again, no, there's not going to be consequences for this guy. Although he doesn't show up again, so maybe he goes to get jail.
Fair enough, yeah.
So, good job, Sonic. Very, very could go almost anywhere story. But in that case, let's move swiftly along to the Haunted Zone, Kitchen and Elson. On Halloween, Sonic and Tails explore a ghost town in the Haunted Zone. 4 out of 10, really boring. And a mysterious spell comes over Sonic.
It's Halloween. You know what comes close after Halloween?
Don't spoil it.
Thanksgiving.
Close enough.
A thing that the British famously celebrate. So, we're in a ghost town called the Haunted Zone, and Tails is like, some dude disappeared here a while back.
Sonic is like, I better check it out then. Because,
Yeah.
He's got nothing better to do. Because, he gets bored.
Actually, it's funny because Sonic intentionally scares Tails.
Yeah, like a fucking asshole. Got asshole Sonic back, I guess.
It's a minor dickhead moment.
It is, yeah.
I think him insulting Tails when he says he wasn't funny is what clinches it. If he was just like good, clean fun, but
sure.
Yeah, that's a Sonic dickhead moment. It's one for the counter. They also say that this place used to be very wealthy, but they built on an ancient burial ground. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh
boy. Then Sonic, maybe that's why the dickhead Sonic moment happens, because Sonic pulls this trust exercise where he's like, "All right, I'm gonna smack you with a branch."
No, this doesn't really make any sense to me with what happens in just a second.
Yeah, I don't understand how this works either. But I knew something odd was going on, but still, in the moment, this is such a what the heck move out of nowhere. Like, usually evil Sonic would be like attack Tails or something, but I'm gonna just swing a stick super hard and stop it right in front of your face. It's such a, what is going on?
He does, in fact, try to hit him, which Tails jumps out of the way. And we're attacked by whatever these things are. I wanted to call them gremlins, but the guy from last year was Gremlin.
I thought they had a name, but I don't see anything.
But they attack, and Sonic calls them his new friends, so at some point in here, Sonic got possessed. Maybe when he disappeared earlier? I don't know.
I guess.
But like...
They give him this amulet, which there's an editor's note that says something that is warned to keep evil away, which is that what amulet means? I don't think so. I think it's a more generic term than that.
Specifically what it means, but I guess it's kind of what it's used for sometimes.
And it's also weird because, Sonic clearly is doing what they want already, because he punches Tails before he takes the amulet.
And tries to beat him with a stick.
Yeah, so the amulet isn't what's possessing him, right?
Which they make it kind of seem like, to me at least, that is what the amulet is doing.
Well, Tails says, Sonic, the evil in this town, somehow it's taking control of your mind. So when did that start? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really come across as like playing on the darkness in his heart or whatever.
No, it's just like, yeah.
It's not the amulet. The amulet is used for something else. We'll see in a minute. I just don't understand why it affected Sonic and not Tails.
Yeah.
That's also a good question.
No, you know what that is? It's that Sonic gave in to temptation. It's that one moment where he tried to scare Tails. That was the moment that he got possessed, but he got possessed because he fucked with Tails.
Damn it.
That would be more interesting, but unfortunately, I don't know that was the intention. Either way, so these creatures, I guess they're like spirits or something, because they're gonna like return to the underworld, and it's those amulets that will bring them back, and so they're gonna take Sonic with them.
They're dragging him back to hell, punished for his sins. Sonic Shuffle, that is.
Yep.
But it's very weird because, like you said, no, it wasn't the amulet that controlled him. But when Tails flies in and pulls off the amulet, the mind control is broken.
Yep. Which is what made me think that the amulet is involved with the mind control.
Well, clearly
So
it must be.
It has to be.
No. I don't think so at all.
Okay.
As I said a moment ago, it's for entering the underworld. They say that explicitly.
That's true, they do.
And they are leaving as he snatches it away. So as soon as they leave, then they can't possess him anymore. That's what's going on. And he doesn't come with them because he doesn't have the amulet.
That's a possibility.
I guess that makes more sense, I guess.
And Sonic also has no memory of the entire night's events.
I mean,
So,
I guess that tracks.
I guess that means that he was being controlled by the time he messed with Tails, so it's not a Sonic dickhead moment.
Yeah.
It still kind of feels bad at the end, though, because Tails is like, what, you don't remember anything? And he's just like, psh, I remember you can't even help to keep me awake because I wanted to, see the truth about this place. You just let me fall asleep. Like, he just assumes the worst, typical jerk Sonic moment. And no one knows that Tails just saved him except Tails. And he's not going to say anything because he wouldn't believe him anyway.
I suppose it is kind of a dickhead Sonic moment in that regard. I would say that because he believes everything is fine and is just snarking like normal, it's less of one still.
It's not the worst, but still.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird story, kind of not great. But let's move along here to Revenge, Kitching and Corona. Sonic and Porker Lewis investigate a case of stolen gold in Metropolis Bank.
I don't know why Porker is here, but I mean, it's nice to see him.
Yeah, it's nice to see him. I guess, Sonic wanted his help with the tech aspect, maybe.
I mean, it's a vault, but yeah.
I don't know.
There's an implication that Sonic doesn't actually want Porker to be here later in the story, so I don't know why he is here.
Maybe
Porker
he just happened to be there.
And they happened to get caught
Maybe this is Porker's bank.
Oh yeah, right.
All my stuff is here, yeah. all the money I made defrauding people as Oscar.
Ooh.
Yeah, something stole a bunch of gold from a bank in Metropolis and left a note to Sonic specifically, calling him old friend and saying, "I'm gonna get the rest tomorrow."
Did either of you know who this was, or at least think about who it might have been? Because I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I did not have a specific impression. In fairness, I may have accidentally made you guys less suspicious of who it ends up being.
I'm gonna be honest. You mentioning what you did not make me think of him.
Okay. Well, Sonic also has no idea who he could possibly be, but he stays by the vault all night, only for the gold to disappear anyway.
To be fair, maybe he should have been inside the vault.
Yeah. Although it might... I'm wondering... Okay, I was about to say, well, what if it's vacuum sealed? What if it's an airtight vault? But if that were the case, then the person stealing the gold wouldn't be able to get in and out.
I think this was a pretty reasonable plan. It's
it's a reasonable enough plan. Yeah, no.
But it's okay because Porker actually prepared for this because he put a tracking device on one of the bars of gold so he can follow where they went. And Sonic is like completely ungrateful for this. He's like, "Why didn't you tell me this until now? You almost made me look like a fool, Porker." Like, dude,
this is why he tell you, Sonic, because
It's a dickhead Sonic moment, yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Apparently we've got a resurgence of those.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But we follow the signal, and it's coming from a building. And, oh, hi, there's Fang.
Why is he sticking his head out the window like that?
I don't know. It's so weird.
Yeah.
This guy is kind of an idiot at random times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that does kind of line up with his official characterization.
Fair enough.
And I want to apologize because I said, the next time we see Fang, it'll be somewhere weird. And I just completely forgot that this happens before Shanazar. So, my bad.
I mean, this is still kind of somewhere weird.
I mean, I expected something different than this, but that's
Fair
okay.
enough.
It did make me not even suspect him, so I was like, what?
Yeah. And, it's Fang. Sonic runs up the building and jumps at him, but Fang shrinks out of the way. And size changing is still his thing. He says, I'm real good at it now.
Yeah, he's like, I was reduced to the size of an atom, but I found a way to come back. You can elaborate on that? Because I want to know how.
Yeah, I'd like to know how as well.
I don't know how. We will see where, at least. But yeah, it's...
Okay, well, yeah.
I mean, I guess it's that if you get shrunk down to the size of an atom, you necessarily have to learn things about shrinking and growth in order to get out of that situation.
I suppose
Fair
so.
enough.
But he gets real big to try and attack them now. He gets in all of one attack, maybe two, but then he hears the sound of the cops because Porker called them earlier, and so he's like, fuck it, I'm out of here.
Even though he's giant and he could probably just, like, squish them.
You could do kind of a kaiju thing, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, this guy is an idiot, and he wouldn't think of something like that. He's an overpowered idiot because, well, he is stupid. He can just escape and no one can stop him. Which, okay, wow, it's kind of an unsatisfying end.
Yep.
Yeah.
So instead, he just shrinks down past microscopic size and disappears again. And there's this weird moment where Sonic laments that he failed because Fang got away, even though they got the gold back.
That's Fang outsmarted him, and Sonic is full of himself.
The bad guys get away in these comics all the time, though.
Yeah, well, not usually from outsmarting, mostly from, I don't know, they just leave.
No, it's mostly from the heroes not caring about catching them.
Yeah, actually, true.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, why does Sonic care now?
Writers are inconsistent.
Well, so usually he beats them and then they escape. He didn't beat Fang first, that's the thing.
Oh, so he should have been able to get him like one punch and then it would have been fine.
Yep, exactly.
Well, he also settles on, hey, I was about to win if the cops didn't show up. Lewis, you fucking dickhead who calls the authorities like a normal person.
Yeah, this is why Porker left.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, let's not worry about that. Let's worry about Secret Enemy here. Secret Enemy, Kitching and Elson. Sonic and AI Kintobor are confused by a Badnik attack in Metropolis that seemingly does not exist, but when Sonic gets there, something worse than a regular Badnik attacks. Anyway, yeah, AI Kintobor is like, oh, there's a huge Badnik army attacking Metropolis and nobody else is around you. You better go there, Sonic.
Damn.
You don't have to tell Sonic twice. He's like, Badniks? Heck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
It's a really detailed drawing on the screen. It looks like they're messing with Johnny there.
It does, yeah.
But yes, Sonic heads there alone, and there are no Badniks here. There's just a fucking rock to hit him in the head.
And then, as if we were not quite sure of it, Sonic wants to, show that Jerk Sonic is back, because he's like, hey, Kintobor, what's going on, you stupid computer? I've never even heard of Insult Kintobor, of all people.
No, I don't think he has.
Yeah, the rock wasn't even a rock, it was a ball. Some kids were just playing a game.
Yeah.
And yeah, he does get mad at Kintobor, which is a rarity.
Yeah.
To be fair, Kintobor doing much of anything is a rarity.
Yeah, that's true. But the truth is, he's been deceived, hacked even, by someone or something. Both things. It is a someone into something called Grimer who hacked into him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Grimer here, there's something a little off with the characterization, in my opinion. He seems too gleeful, too in control of things. This doesn't track with the way Grimer usually works on their own.
That's
it's not
fair, yeah.
Either the writers don't know how to write him correctly, or if I want to try to fit it in the canon, he just got a huge confidence boost after tricking the Dracons.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me.
I think he's had to step up his game, but he's also in a very good situation here because he's got control of the prison and the warden, but nobody else knows except him. And I think that without Robotnik around, he's kind of had to step up his game a bit.
Yeah.
I suppose so, yeah.
What it inevitably results in is that this is Grimer acting a lot more like Robotnik.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels to me like they just wrote it the same way they'd write Robotnik, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm trying to remember some of the end of the comic, because toward the end of the comic, Grimer is doing things a little differently from Robotnik, but also different from how he is at the start, so I don't know. Either way, it means that the plan that he's cooking up is actually kind of effective, or at least I think it's cool.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It doesn't quite go the way I would have hoped, but it's interesting in the moment.
Sonic's connection to AI Kintobor disappears, and he gets attacked by a giant buzz bomber with a TV on its face.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool looking.
It is cool looking.
But it's faster, it's stronger, it's got arms and can punch you, a thing that bees are famous for doing.
And it starts talking.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. In fact, it doesn't just start talking. The TV screen on its face suddenly displays AI Kintobor. He's being used to control it.
He looks a bit more like Robotnik now, also.
Yeah, he does have sort of a Robotnik look on his face.
Yeah.
He looks almost more like Sega Sonic Robotnik.
Yeah, he looks more like Eggman than Robotnik, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, before he shows up, he's like, oh, yes, I can predict all your moves, Sonic, because I know you better than almost anyone, which, wait, really? Does Kintobor really know Sonic better than, like, Tails, for instance?
I guess the idea is that because Sonic and Kintobor have known each other the longest, technically speaking.
Right.
They consider them, like, the closest of friends. It doesn't make sense, though, because they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, they barely interact, so it's kind of strange. But yes, when I first saw this, I hope this was going a direction that it's not. But I'd like to mention that it's interesting that Kintobor is acting sort of like Robotnik here, and I was like, oh, is Grimer trying to like create another Robotnik out of Kintobor? That would be really interesting, but unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Sonic does speculate, like, oh, did you go bad just like Robotnik did?
He just immediately assumes that, oh yeah, I mean, I guess you just went rotten like Robotnik. He doesn't suspect at all that there's foul play.
It's also weird because he also says, I'm sick of existing just for your convenience, Sonic. Sick of being a computer that's treated like some mindless machine. Which implies that he has a motivation to do this, even though it's just Grimer.
Well, I assume Grimer's been trying to make it seem like he has a motivation.
Oh, he's like typing up his lines, you think?
Yeah, that's what I assume. He has some... He's retrained Kintobor AI or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he made him believe that.
Yeah. Also, I mean, this is... As we point out, Sonic didn't really start acting like Kintobor is just a computer until this story.
Yeah, in response to that, he's like, oh, for Pete's sake, you are just a machine, which is not how you're supposed to respond if they're really supposed to be, like, longtime friends.
No.
Yeah, it's a little herky-jerk.
Yeah.
And he doesn't suspect Grimer at all, which I guess is fine as far as he knows. He's just back in
prison.
that
makes sense, yeah.
No, I don't expect him to suspect Grimer, but I would think he would suspect something is weird.
Yeah, but, you know, the inevitable fight ensues. He drops a building on the Badnik, which doesn't work. I hope that's an empty building. They don't say that it's empty.
I would assume.
I'm sure
it says danger. I'm sure it is.
It says there's a sign in front of it that says danger due for demolition.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh yeah.
So I assume it's empty.
Yeah. Okay. Well, now I'm just thinking of like Barton Milhouse abandoned factory in Homer's.
Oh yeah.
Yes. He runs back to the Emerald Hill base instead of continuing to fight him, and just shuts off the computer. Which,
wow,
I mean,
I thought you were supposed to be predicting his every move, Kintobor. How'd you not see such an obvious play?
Well, we'll learn why Kintobor didn't stop him in a second.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Yes, indeed. The next day, Lewis is like, "Oh, I fixed the AI to not be evil, Sonic." But Grimer reveals to the audience that this whole thing was a setup. This whole affair was a distraction because he actually planted a spy bug inside their systems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fine that Kintobor AI was defeated or let itself be defeated.
Basically.
So, I mean, good on you, Grimer. You know, as much as we say, oh, he's acting too much like Robotnik, at least that means that he's effective, which he often isn't.
True, but I really like the idea that Grimer needs Robotnik to truly bring out his best side. I suppose, to be fair, he is playing it very cautious here and not going out in the open, so I suppose it works well enough.
Yeah, it's not like he launched a new war effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're clearly in a state of Cold War.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of cold, let's move on here to Child's Play, Kitching and Elson. Sonic follows reports of an attack, only to learn the Badnik isn't quite what he thought. We're in snow, that's the whole joke.
All right, well, Bruce, you foreshadowed it. It's Christmas again.
God damn it.
Fucking Christmas again.
It keeps happening.
Sonic gets called to a Badnik attack on a playground, and it's actually some hacked-together creation by this science kid.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's supposed to look fake, but like I could see this being just an actual Badnik design in this comic.
yeah, plenty of real Fleetway Badnik designs look like this.
That's fair.
But he loses, I guess, true to form, it also can be dangerous just like a real Badnik too, because he loses control of it, and it fights Sonic until it explodes, which seemingly knocks Sonic unconscious.
No, it kills him. He's dead.
It kills him. Yeah,
Sonic
is just dead. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh no, I can't believe this happened. This was all just a ruse because we wanted a video meet and greet?
Why not just ask? Sonic would probably show up. And B, people just run into Sonic all the time. You could probably just hang out in Emerald Hill and he'd show up.
Yeah, Sonic signs autographs for people. He loves talking about how great he is.
Yeah.
But it's too late to think about all that because they've killed their hero. What are they gonna do now? Nothing but go to prison. They're like totally like they completely believe this.
They're so distraught.
Yeah,
they totally believe that they just murdered Sonic. I love the look. You get to see they finally show that Sonic isn't dead. Well, they show Sonic isn't dead with them looking through a squinted eye while they're complaining about going to prison.
Is great. Yeah,
this is the only asshole moment I think is actually funny so far.
Well, and I think it's
deserved.
It's totally justified, and Sonic gets up saying, "Yeah, that would be pretty stupid, wouldn't it?" And yeah, I would say karmic justice, because you shouldn't have built a robot to attack your hero if you wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the confusing thing is that he doesn't actually seem all that mad from this. I mean, I guess he just enjoyed fighting a robot.
I guess so, yeah.
That's got to be it. Because after that, he's like, well, yeah, if you're really going to do all that just for me, I'll have to pay you back. I'm my biggest fans. And he zips around and makes a big old, snow slide for them.
Yeah, ice sculpture that is also a playground. How do you build that out of snow? I guess he superheats but then how does it cool it? I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Maybe the wind cools it down. I don't know. Merry fucking Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Christmas miracle.
Also, he says this is the first Christmas we've had for years without Dr. Robotnik to ruin things. That's not true.
Last Christmas he didn't. No. Last Christmas he was there.
I mean, I guess, in that but it makes it sound like, it's the first Christmas without Robotnik in power, because plenty of stuff happened that Christmas that was fine.
I mean, yeah.
So I don't know. Also, it's very tacked on. If you remove that little panel, those panels, you wouldn't even need to make this a Christmas story.
No, but it comes after Halloween's, ergo it's Christmas.
Well, I mean, it is
That's
one.
Right.
I'm just saying,
yeah,
we don't have to worry about the spirit of Christmas in this episode.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So no Robotnik. Is it me, or has Robotnik been gone longer than before?
It kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
They really don't know what to do this time either. It seems like.
Yeah.
Don't look at the next page. Yeah, it's.
Oh.
Yeah, it's definitely we're in a bit of a lull right now, and we're gonna pick things up, but that is unfortunately gonna happen next time on Deep Dive Zone, because that is the end of our comics for tonight. Very like we said, kind of spinning our wheels. Amy and Techno have got something to do at least, but we don't have a complete picture of what the future looks like for Sonic and the villains.
Yeah.
And this one ran about as long as last week, so whatever. Some of it was okay. It's I never find myself hating life when reading these, but I am getting a little bored of the rigmarole.
Yeah.
Which we've got, 6 episodes left now? Something like that?
Okay.
Maybe 7? I don't know.
I think 6 or 7, based on what you said.
There is interesting stuff on the horizon, but I am thinking, I might be feeling like we're getting ready to be done with this. I'm feeling like we're in the twilight hours.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll pick up at some point, but by and
large, make no mistake, it's gonna pick up.
I want it. Yeah, I figure it'll pick up as we're coming to the end.
But I'm feeling a little bit of
I'm ready
you know,
for it to pick up. That's
I'm feeling a little bit of the 3/4 of the way through the Medrex arc atmosphere, sort of.
Ooh, yeah.
I would not slap Sonic the Comic with such an insult myself.
No, so
I like the Medrex arc.
I
better
get the
than
idea.
you guys.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. No, I wouldn't give Sonic the Comic that big of an insult either. But it does. Your logic does make sense.
Fatigue is always going to set in when you do something long enough. There's going to be probably a point at some point where we say, all right, we need to just like cool off on Deep Dive Zone for a while.
I mean, we've done at least one break for a few weeks.
For example.
Yeah.
So, you know. But with all that said, that is going to be it for tonight. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you to our viewers for watching. Thank you to my co-host for being here. If you have any questions, comments, criticisms, suggestion, or feedback, you can find us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week for another episode. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and take care.